You're at a gathering. Someone mentions the game. Everyone lights up. They're talking teams, stats, plays, what happened last night, what's happening next week, and you're just standing there, nodding, smiling, pretending you have any idea what they're talking about. And someone turns to you and asks what you think, and you freeze because you don't think anything. You don't follow it. You don't care. And the moment you admit that, the room shifts. Suddenly you're the odd one, the outsider, the person who doesn't get it. And they look at you like you're missing something fundamental, like you're not fully participating in being human. And you start to wonder if they're right, if something's wrong with you for not caring about something everyone else seems to care about so deeply. But here's what you need to know. You're not missing out. You're not less connected, and you're definitely not alone. There's real psychology behind why some people don't obsess over sports in a world where sports obsession feels like the default, and understanding it might finally help you stop feeling like you're failing at something you never signed up for. So let's talk about what's really happening when you don't connect with sports culture. Because this isn't about being contrarian or thinking you're above it. It's about how your brain prioritizes meaning, connection, and engagement. And for some people, sports just don't activate those systems the way they do for others. First, let's be clear about what sports fandom actually provides for most people. It's not just about the game. It's about belonging. It's about shared identity. It's about having something to talk about that everyone understands. It's a social glue, a way to bond with strangers, a framework for connection that doesn't require vulnerability or depth. You can walk into any room, mention the local team, and instantly have common ground. And for people who need that, who thrive on that kind of external structure for socializing, sports are essential. They're the easiest entry point into community. But here's where it gets interesting. If you don't obsess over sports, it's often because your brain doesn't find meaning in vicarious achievement. You're not wired to feel emotionally invested in outcomes you have no control over. When a team wins, you don't feel like you won. When they lose, you don't feel like you lost, because you understand at a core level that you are not actually part of it. You're watching. And watching someone else succeed or fail doesn't fulfill the same need in you that it does in others. And that's not coldness, that's just a different relationship with meaning. You need to be involved, to participate, to create. And spectating, no matter how intense, doesn't scratch that itch.
Now let's talk about tribal identity. Sports fandom is deeply tribal. You pick a team. That team becomes part of who you are. You defend them, you celebrate them, you suffer with them. And that tribalism, that sense of us versus them, it activates something primal in the human brain. It creates belonging, but it also creates division. And if you're someone who doesn't naturally align with tribal thinking, who doesn't feel the need to pick a side and defend it, sports culture can feel alienating, because you're not just opting out of the game, you're opting out of the identity. And in a culture where team loyalty is treated like a core value, not having a team feels like not having a home. Here's another layer. People who don't obsess over sports often have a low tolerance for manufactured drama. And sports, at their core, are designed to create drama. The rivalries, the comebacks, the upsets, the narratives, it's all theater. And if you're someone who's already dealing with real complexity in your life, who's already managing actual stakes, investing emotional energy in manufactured stakes feels hollow. It feels like wasting bandwidth. You'd rather spend that energy on things that matter to you directly, on relationships, on work, on creative projects, on understanding yourself. And from the outside, that looks like you don't know how to have fun. But it's not that. It's that your version of fun requires substance, and sports, for you, don't provide it. But here's what people don't understand. Not caring about sports doesn't mean you don't care about connection. It just means you connect differently.
You'd rather have one deep conversation than 10 surface-level exchanges about last night's game. You'd rather build relationships based on shared values than shared fandoms. And that preference, while it makes navigating sports-heavy social spaces harder, it also means the connections you do form tend to go deeper, because you're not bonding over something external, you're bonding over something real. Let's talk about childhood for a moment, because often people who don't obsess over sports had early experiences where sports weren't a positive part of their life. Maybe you weren't athletic. Maybe you were the last one picked. Maybe sports were used as a measure of worth and you didn't measure up. And when that happens, when sports become associated with inadequacy or exclusion, your brain learns to distance itself. It decides that this arena isn't safe, that participation means risk, that it's easier to just not engage. And that distancing, that protective withdrawal, it carries into adulthood. Even when no one's picking teams anymore, even when it's just casual fandom, the discomfort lingers, and not caring becomes a defense mechanism disguised as preference.
Here's what's crucial to recognize. You're allowed to not care about sports. You're allowed to find them boring. You're allowed to use that social time for literally anything else. And doing that doesn't make you antisocial or pretentious or missing out. It makes you someone who knows what engages them and what doesn't, who refuses to fake interest just to fit in, who values authenticity over belonging. And in a world that often prioritizes belonging over authenticity, that's actually rare. Now, let's talk about what happens when you exist in a sports-obsessed culture without participating. You become invisible in certain spaces. You miss references, you can't participate in the banter, you're excluded from conversations that dominate social settings. And that exclusion, even when it's not malicious, it reinforces the feeling that you don't belong, that you're on the outside of something everyone else is inside of. And over time, that starts to feel less like a choice and more like a flaw, like something's missing in you that makes you unable to connect the way normal people do. But here's the shift. The problem isn't that you don't care about sports. The problem is that sports culture dominates social spaces in ways that exclude people who don't participate. It's not that you're failing to connect, it's that the primary mode of connection being offered doesn't work for you. And recognizing that difference, understanding that the issue is compatibility, not capacity, that changes everything. Because now you're not broken, you're just in the wrong environment for your wiring. Here's the compassionate truth. If you don't obsess over sports in a sports-obsessed world, it means you've learned that connection doesn't have to look the way everyone else says it should. That you don't have to fake enthusiasm for something that bores you just to be accepted. That your interests, your passions, your version of engagement, they're just as valid as anyone else's. And yes, that makes certain social situations harder. Yes, it means you'll feel like an outsider sometimes, but it also means you're living authentically, and that's worth more than any team loyalty could ever provide. So, if you're someone who doesn't care about sports, here's what I want you to remember. You're not missing a fundamental part of being human. You're not socially deficient. You're not less capable of connection. You just connect through different channels. And the fact that mainstream culture hasn't made space for those channels doesn't mean they're less important. It just means you have to be more intentional about finding your people. The ones who don't need a game to have something to talk about. The ones who value depth over distraction. The ones who get that there are 1,000 ways to belong, and tribal sports fandom is just one of them.
The next time you're in a room full of people talking about the game and you have nothing to contribute, remember that your silence isn't emptiness, it's just selectiveness. You're saving your energy for conversations that matter to you, for connections that go deeper than shared teams. And that's not wrong, that's just you being honest about what engages you. And honesty, even when it isolates you temporarily, is always better than performance. Here's my question for you. Do you not obsess over sports? And if so, what do you connect over instead?
What's your version of the thing everyone talks about? Drop a comment and share. I'd love to hear what actually engages you. And if this video made you feel less alone in a sports-obsessed world, consider subscribing. We explore what it means to be human in ways that honor all the different ways people find meaning. Next time, we're diving into why some people feel uncomfortable in loud environments. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.